Have you ever noticed that sometimes a woman will test you in ways that feel frustrating, confusing, or even unfair? Maybe she suddenly pulls back when things seem to be going great. Maybe she throws out a sarcastic comment about you or asks a question that feels like it came out of nowhere. Maybe she criticizes you in front of others just to see how you'll react. And the big question most men ask is, why? Why do women do this? Why test me if she actually likes me? The answer is simple but deep. Women test you for a reason. They want to know who you really are beneath the surface. See, a lot of men think attraction is only about looks, money, or status. And yes, those things matter to some degree. But what matters far more is how you carry yourself under pressure, how you handle challenges, and how you respond when she pokes at your ego. Because here's the truth, women test men to measure strength. Not physical strength necessarily, but emotional strength, psychological strength, and above all, stability. Think about it. If you've ever wondered why a woman who clearly likes you still pushes your buttons, it's because attraction alone isn't enough for her. She needs to feel safe. She needs to feel that you're consistent, and she needs to feel that you won't crumble when life gets tough. A man who fails these tests may win her interest temporarily, but he'll never win her long-term respect. Let's break this down with a little bit of psychology. Deep in our wiring as human beings, women are naturally more selective in choosing a mate. This isn't just cultural, it's biological. Women invest far more in reproduction and nurturing than men, which means throughout history, they had to filter for the best possible partner. Not just the strongest hunter, not just the wealthiest man in the tribe, but the one who could remain calm in chaos, provide stability, and protect when necessary. That instinct is still alive today. So when she tests you, it's not cruelty. It's her way of finding out if you are reliable or just another man pretending. Now let me give you a clear example. Imagine you're dating a woman and she suddenly says, "Why don't you ever do anything romantic?" Most men panic here. They start apologizing, they start overcompensating, they try to prove themselves. But here's what she's really asking. Are you secure enough to stay calm under criticism? Will you collapse and beg for approval? Or can you stay grounded and confident? Maybe even turn it into playful banter. Because the man who doesn't crumble is the man who passes the test. Another example, you've been texting with a woman and she suddenly delays replying for hours or days. Some men spiral into anxiety. Did I do something wrong? Is she losing interest? Should I double text? That's failing the test. She wants to see if your world falls apart when she pulls back. She wants to know if you're patient, self-sufficient, and able to maintain your composure when she's not giving you constant attention. The man who keeps living his life, who stays calm and doesn't chase, shows her something powerful, emotional strength. And here's something a lot of men get wrong. They think women test them because women are manipulative or cruel. But that's not the truth. Women don't test you because they hate you. They test you because they like you. If a woman doesn't care about you, she won't test you at all. She'll just ignore you. Testing is her way of filtering out weakness so she can feel secure with the right man. So instead of seeing it as something negative, start seeing it as an opportunity to prove your strength without words. Now, let's get deeper into why women test men. One of the biggest reasons is consistency. Women want to know if the man they first met is the same man he really is. It's easy to act confident on a first date. It's easy to say the right things in the beginning. But over time, she wants to know if you're genuinely that man or if it was just an act, so she'll push a little. She'll disagree with you on purpose. She'll question your decisions. She'll challenge your authority in small ways. And when you stand firm, when you calmly handle it without getting defensive or aggressive, she feels secure. But when you break down, when you react with anger or neediness, she knows the confidence was fake. Another reason women test you is to measure boundaries. She wants to know how much she can push before you push back. If you let her walk all over you, even in small ways, she'll lose respect. Women crave men who have healthy boundaries, men who can say no without guilt, men who aren't afraid to stand up for themselves. That's not toxic, it's attractive. Why? Because a man without boundaries can't protect himself. And if he can't protect himself, how can he protect her? Now, let's address one of the most common tests women use, the jealousy test. Maybe she mentions another guy, or she tells you about someone hitting on her. She's not necessarily trying to hurt you. She's trying to see your reaction. Do you collapse into insecurity? Do you start interrogating her, accusing her, or begging for reassurance? That's failing the test. Or do you remain composed, maybe even smile and say, well, of course other men notice you, you're gorgeous, but they're not me. That's passing the test. You show confidence, security, and self-assuredness without losing your cool. Let me add a Stoic perspective here, because it's powerful. The Stoics taught that your peace of mind should never depend on the actions of others. What matters is how you respond. When a woman tests you, she's essentially giving you the chance to live this truth. Are you in control of yourself, or are you at the mercy of her moods and games? The man who passes these tests isn't the one who wins every argument or dominates her into submission. No, it's the man who remains unshaken, calm, and centered. That kind of stability is magnetic because it's so rare. So, what are some other common tests? There's the criticism test. She might point out a flaw in you, like your job, your appearance, or your habits, just to see how you handle it. There's the compliance test, asking you to do something you don't want to do, to see if you can stand firm or if you bend just to please her. There's the patience test, making you wait, whether it's for her time, her affection, or her commitment, just to see if you become desperate or if you remain steady. Here's the secret. Women don't expect perfection. They don't expect you to always have the smoothest comeback or the perfect reaction. What they want to see is composure. They want to see that you don't fall apart, that you don't lose your sense of self, that you can handle discomfort. Because life will throw challenges at both of you, and if you can't handle small tests in the relationship, how will you handle the big tests of life? I want to tell you something important here. Failing one test doesn't mean it's over. Every man fails sometimes. Maybe you overreact. Maybe you get defensive. Maybe you say something insecure. That's okay. What matters is that you learn from it. Women don't need a flawless man. They need a man who grows, who learns, who becomes stronger over time. The key is awareness. Once you start recognizing tests for what they are, you'll stop taking them so personally. Instead of getting offended, you'll start seeing them as a challenge to step up. So, let me ask you, are you the type of man who crumbles when tested? Or are you the type who remains calm, grounded, and steady? Because women test you for a reason, and the reason is simple. She wants to know if she can trust you with her heart, her respect, and ultimately her future. If you fail, she'll pull away. If you pass, she'll fall deeper into admiration and trust. In the next part of this series, I'm going to break down specific real-life examples of these tests, how to recognize them instantly, and the exact responses that show strength without arrogance. Because remember this, the point is not to play games, it's to become the kind of man who doesn't need to play them at all. Women test men for a reason, and in part 1 we laid the foundation. Tests are not random. They're a woman's way of checking if the man in front of her is truly who he claims to be. Now, in this second part, we're diving deeper. I want you to understand not just the tests themselves, but the psychology behind them, and most importantly, how you as a man with a Stoic mindset can pass them every single time. Because here's the truth, every test is an opportunity. If you react like most men, you fail. If you respond with strength, calmness, and awareness, you win. Let's go deeper. First, understand this. Women don't consciously decide, I'll test him today. No, it's often subconscious. It comes from instinct, biology, and psychology. A woman wants to know, is this man stable? Does he lose his balance easily? Can he lead himself and, by extension, others? If not, she will lose attraction. So here's the first test we'll discuss in part 2. Test number 1. The push for control. At some point, she will try to take control of the decision, of the conversation, or of the frame. It could be subtle. Maybe she says, "Let's do this instead," when you've already set a plan. Maybe she pushes back against your opinion, not because she cares about the topic, but because she wants to see if you'll bend. Most men fold instantly, thinking they're keeping the peace. But she isn't testing for peace. She's testing for strength. The Stoic response? You don't fight, you don't argue, you simply hold your ground with calm certainty. I already decided this is what we're doing. That's it. No drama, no explanation. That's passing the test. Test number 2, emotional chaos. This one is powerful. She will at times throw emotion at you, frustration, tears, anger, or even cold silence. And the untrained man reacts emotionally back. He gets defensive, he shouts, or he chases. And in doing so, he fails. Because the test isn't about the emotion, it's about your stability. If her storm can shake your foundation, you aren't strong enough to lead. The Stoic man breathes. He listens. He doesn't overreact. He allows her to ride her storm, and when it passes, she sees, this man cannot be moved. That's power. Test number 3, delayed gratification. Sometimes she'll withhold attention, affection, or validation, and many men panic. They chase, they beg, they try to buy it back. But the hidden question here is, are you desperate for her approval, or can you hold yourself with dignity when it isn't freely given? The Stoic man knows his worth isn't tied to temporary withdrawal. He doesn't chase validation. He continues with his mission. He gives her the space to come back willingly. That self-restraint alone is what makes her respect grow. Test number 4, the comparison game. She might bring up other men, her ex, her coworker, someone she saw online. Most men take the bait. They get jealous, insecure, defensive. But the truth is, she doesn't care about the other man. She cares about how you react. Do you see him as competition, or do you trust your own value? The Stoic response is indifference. A simple nod, a shrug, and no insecurity. When you know who you are, you don't fear comparisons. That calm indifference speaks louder than any argument ever could. Test number 5, boundary pushing. This is a classic. She will push to see how much you'll tolerate. Maybe she tests with sarcasm, with disrespect, with late replies, with behavior that crosses the line. Many men avoid conflict and let it slide. But here's the truth. Without boundaries, you have no respect. The Stoic man sets boundaries not with anger, not with shouting, but with calm certainty. He makes it clear, this is what I will and won't allow in my life. And here's the secret. If you let her break small boundaries, she will eventually break big ones. Passing this test is about self-respect. Now let's zoom out. Why do women test so relentlessly? Because they want to feel safe in your strength. Safety isn't about money or muscles. It's about emotional stability. If she sees that you are unshaken no matter the storm, that you stand firm no matter the temptation, then she knows. This is a man I can trust, follow, and respect. But let me take you even deeper into the psychology. A woman tests not because she wants you to fail, but because she wants to believe in you. She wants proof that her attraction isn't misplaced. She wants to know her instincts are right about you. But if you fail consistently, if you reveal insecurity, jealousy, or lack of control, she loses faith in you. Attraction dies. Respect disappears. This is why I say every test is an opportunity. Every test is a chance to prove, not to her, but to yourself, that you are the man you claim to be. Now here's something most men never realize. Tests never end. Even in long relationships, even in marriage, they continue. because life continues to test you as a man. And a woman's tests are simply reflections of life's tests. If you're unstable in relationships, you're probably unstable in business, in discipline, in your own self-control. So instead of resenting the tests, embrace them. Here's a powerful perspective shift. Instead of asking, why does she keep testing me? Ask yourself, why do I keep getting triggered? Because if you react emotionally, if you get defensive, if you feel the need to argue, that's not her fault, that's your weakness, and her test just exposed it. She revealed the exact area of yourself you need to strengthen. So the question becomes, will you use her tests as mirrors to grow, or will you resent them and fail? Let me give you an example. Imagine you're on a date. You've planned it, chosen the spot, set the frame. Suddenly she says, "Why didn't you pick that other place?" At that moment, most men crumble. They second-guess, they apologize, they think they've made a mistake. But the Stoic man smiles and says, "Because this is where I wanted to bring you." That's it, calm, certain, unmoved. The test was never about the restaurant. It was about whether you'd second-guess your decision. Another example, she ignores your call for hours. When she finally replies, she's casual about it. Most men rush in, "Why didn't you answer me? What were you doing?" In that moment, you've failed, because you've shown insecurity. The Stoic man, he doesn't even react. He's busy living his life. He replies when convenient, and his tone never changes. She learns quickly. This man isn't desperate. Every test points back to the same truth. Strength is calmness. Strength is control. Strength is dignity. But here's something important. Passing tests isn't about being cold or robotic. It's about self-mastery. Women don't want a man who is heartless. They want a man who feels deeply but is not ruled by his feelings. That balance, that ability to stay grounded while still caring, is rare. That's why it's valuable. So let me leave you with this. Women test you for a reason, not to hurt you, not to frustrate you, but to call you higher, to reveal whether you're truly the man you say you are. Every time you remain calm in chaos, every time you hold your frame in pressure, every time you lead with certainty instead of insecurity, you prove it. And when you pass, respect grows, attraction deepens, her trust in you becomes unshakable. Fail, and you'll join the majority of men who complain about women without ever realizing they never pass the test. So, my challenge to you is simple. The next time you face one of these tests, pause, breathe. Don't react from emotion. Respond from principle. Be the calm in the storm. And remember, her test isn't against you. It's for you. Because when you pass, you become stronger. Women test you for a reason. Don't fail this. Women test you for a reason. And in this final part, I want to bring everything together. We've gone through why women test, how they test, and how a Stoic man responds. Now, let's go deeper into the philosophy of passing these tests, not just with women, but with life itself. Because the truth is, the same mindset that makes you unshakable with women is the same mindset that makes you unstoppable in the world. Think about this. Every man faces two kinds of tests. External tests, the world, your career, your finances, your relationships, and internal tests, your fears, your doubts, your discipline, your emotions. Women's tests fall right in between. They're external, but they strike at your internal. They reveal the cracks inside of you that you haven't yet mastered, and that is why they sting so much. But instead of resenting them, the wise man embraces them as free training for his own growth. So let's break down a few more advanced tests that most men fail, and how you can pass them. Test number 1, the test of indifference. Sometimes she will act as if she doesn't care. She'll go quiet. She'll withhold attention. She'll seem detached. Many men panic. They beg for closeness. They overtext. They start chasing. But what's the real question she's asking? Will you lose yourself if I pull away? The Stoic man doesn't. He gives space. He doesn't demand attention. He continues on his path. And eventually, her indifference fades because she sees that he isn't shaken by it. That strength is attractive in itself. Test number 2, the test of temptation. At times, a woman may test you by tempting you to abandon your values, your discipline, your mission, your standards. Maybe she invites you to waste time, to give up your goals, to indulge in laziness or distractions. If you fold, she loses respect. Because she doesn't want a man she can control. She wants a man who controls himself. The Stoic man politely declines what doesn't align with his purpose. He chooses discipline over instant pleasure, and that's exactly why she ends up respecting him more. Test number 3, the test of masculine leadership. At some point, she'll push you to see if you can lead, not with dominance, but with direction. Maybe she asks, "What should we do tonight?" Or, "What's the plan for us?" If you hesitate, if you throw it back to her, she feels uncertainty. The Stoic man doesn't force his will, but he guides with confidence. Here's what we'll do. Here's where we're going. That clarity isn't about control, it's about safety. Because deep down, women want to feel that they can relax in your strength. Test number 4, the test of emotional projection. Sometimes she will project her own fears or insecurities onto you. She might accuse you of something without evidence. She might question your intentions. Most men fight back instantly. "Why don't you trust me? Why are you accusing me?" But the Stoic man doesn't react defensively. He understands that projection isn't about him. It's about her feelings. Instead of fighting, he holds his ground calmly. He listens, reassures where needed, and doesn't internalize the attack. That steadiness is what dissolves her doubt. Test number 5, the test of consistency. Women are deeply aware of inconsistency. You might start strong, disciplined, confident, purposeful, but the moment you relax and slip back into laziness or insecurity, she feels it. And she will test to see if you've truly grown or if it was just temporary. The Stoic man doesn't perform confidence. He embodies it. He doesn't fake discipline. He lives it daily. His consistency speaks louder than words. And that is why, over time, she can't help but trust him. Now let's pause. Because at this point, you might be thinking, why does it feel like women are always testing men? Why can't they just accept us? Here's the truth. Life doesn't accept excuses either. Gravity doesn't stop pulling. Time doesn't stop moving. Challenges don't stop appearing. And women, like life, will never stop testing. Not because they hate you, but because that's how they know what you're made of. The weak man resents this. The strong man appreciates it because he knows. The more tests he faces, the stronger he becomes. Let me share something powerful with you. The Roman Stoic Epictetus once said, "Difficulties show what men are." Think about that. If everything is easy, if no one questions you, if no one challenges you, you never grow. But when you are tested, your true character comes out. And women's tests, though they may frustrate you, are simply difficulties in disguise. They are mirrors showing you exactly where you are strong and where you are weak. Now let's bring this into real life with a scenario. Imagine you're in a relationship. Things are going well. Suddenly, she becomes distant, moody, harder to read. Many men panic. They start overthinking. Is she losing interest? Is she cheating? Is it my fault? They chase, they pressure, they demand answers. But the Stoic man doesn't. He stays steady. He gives her space to process. He doesn't collapse into fear. And when she returns, as she usually does, she comes back with more respect than ever because he didn't let her storm pull him off balance. Another scenario. She throws a sharp comment your way. Maybe she says, "Why can't you be more like him?" Most men explode with defensiveness. They argue, they attack back, or they sulk. But the Stoic man simply smiles, maybe even laughs. That's interesting. He doesn't take the bait. He knows his worth isn't up for debate. And in that moment, she realizes her words can't control him. That's attraction at its peak. Here's the bigger truth. Passing women's tests isn't about outsmarting them. It's not about playing games. It's about mastering yourself. Because when you are centered, calm, disciplined, and secure in who you are, no test can shake you. So let me give you the 3 pillars of passing any test. Pillar 1, emotional control. Never react impulsively. Always pause before responding. A man who can't control his emotions is controlled by everything around him. But when you master your emotions, you master the frame. Pillar 2, purpose above approval. Never let a test pull you away from your mission. Women respect men who stand for something bigger than the relationship itself. Your purpose is your anchor. Without it, you drift. Pillar 3, calm strength. Strength isn't about aggression. It's not about shouting louder or forcing your will. It's about calm certainty. The quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is, regardless of what anyone says or does. And when you live by these 3 pillars, you stop seeing women's tests as obstacles. You see them as opportunities. Opportunities to practice emotional control. Opportunities to reaffirm your purpose. Opportunities to stand in calm strength. Let me close with this thought. Women test you for a reason, not because they want to watch you fail, but because they want to see you rise. They want to know if you're truly the man who can protect, provide, and lead, not just them, but yourself. And if you fail, it's not the end of the world, it's feedback. It shows you exactly what you need to work on. But if you pass, if you stay grounded, steady, and strong, you earn something far more valuable than approval. You earn respect. And respect, once given, fuels attraction, trust, and loyalty in ways most men will never experience. So, my challenge to you is this: the next time you're tested, don't react. Respond with awareness. Don't collapse into fear. Stand in your frame. Remember, she's testing for a reason. She wants to know if you're truly that man. Don't fail this.